You are perfect just as you are, no matter what is happening in your body, your mind, or your spirit. This message is going to encourage you today. If you're over 40 and find yourself overwhelmed with symptoms of perimenopause, this is definitely the episode for you to find your Zen.
Emily, what do you hope people take away from today?
That if they are going through perimenopause or think they might be, that there is help out there and they don't need to suffer alone.
This is Hillary Baggett with Hill Talks Momentum in Midlife Podcast. And the whole mission is so that you know that you're not alone. Sometimes we talk health, sometimes wealth, sometimes mindset. Whatever it is, after the age of 40, 50, 60, and beyond, we hope that you know that you are seen, loved, heard, and definitely not alone. In today's episode, I get to welcome back an old friend who has given us 4 other episodes. In case you missed it, go in the show notes and grab Peri What Is Happening to Me or the Peri Superpowers, Tracking, Collaboration, and Boundaries, or Build a Business with Boundaries and Experts. Can't wait for you to learn more about the Aargh to Zen of Perimenopause book. Big welcome to founder of PerimenopauseHub.com, Emily Barclay. So glad you're back.
And today I'm especially excited that she is now a published author. Whoop, 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 whoop. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can find everything you need to know in the book, Perimenopause, I say it like a pirate, to Z, and Emily says,
as though you're like really stressed, to Zen of Perimenopause.
To Zen, yes. And because your English is it kind of the A to Z, which was the direction map book, right? So for our non-UK people.
Exactly. And it's testament to how my brain works. I needed to work out a way to order the book, and alphabetical made sense. So I will admit that 1 or 2 of the chapters are slightly, there's a bit of artistic license in how they're titled, shall we say.
Good. Well, I can't wait. And I think you even have a picture of the book already. So let's give a little sneak peek to what we're talking about. And yeah, bring it just a hair closer to the camera for me and just a hair higher. So you're going to notice that that's Emily on the cover with her awesome funky hair. And she is known as the Peri Godmother. And I love, love, love that name for her because she really comes when any woman has questions, or maybe even men have questions about the people or their partners, their spouses, of like, what is happening? Then you have like the answers, kind of like in Cinderella, the fairy godmother that came to give her what she needs. And this book is kind of a gift. What would you like people to take away from the book?
The biggest thing from the book is that it is your Bible to navigating perimenopause. So I think it's important to stress it is not just me bleating on in the book. There are 48 chapters from 40 different experts, because over on the Perimenopause Hub, we have a panel of experts, and all the different experts involved in the book have provided chapters that answer questions that women in perimenopause have. So, I mean, just to give you a quick kind of glance through the contents page, and this is where we'll see my slight artistic license on the chapter titles. But we start at A with acupuncture, herbs and supplements. We have anxiety, we have cravings, we have embracing change, we have getting back control, we have kindful communication, we have neurodivergence, we have pissed off, we have strength training, we have who am I now? We have this is artistic here. Extraordinary human with an X. That's how I could get like body acceptance in there and put something in X. We have yoga. We have ZZZ, which is sleep. So that's only a tiny snippet of what's in there. But each of the chapters is dip into on its own. So you don't have to think, oh God, I've got to read this entire huge book. You just think, okay, today I really need to know about sleep. You read that chapter. There's a notes page at the end. You can scribble down what you've learned. You can do a bit of journaling around what you've learned. There's a QR code to the website of the author of each chapter so that if you want to know more, you can go straight to their website. So this is very much us holding your hand through perimenopause, and you dip in and you find the bits that you need when you need it. I do not want anyone to feel overwhelmed by the fact that it's quite a chunky book.
Well, certainly by today's standards, because people want fast and easy, but you've created it to be accessible, bite-sized, broken down, and it's not sequential. It's really kind of symptoms-based, right? Yeah. So that you are solutions-based. And I know so many of your experts and love them. So these are not people who said, you know, I've had this one experience and I am going to share a story about it. These are professionals who have been working with women for years and decades, some of them, and they know what they're talking about. And this is a very trusted resource. And I can't wait for more people in the United States to realize that the wisdom and the knowledge that the UK practitioners hold is rich and just really a wealth of information and research. And sometimes I know we talk about how, oh, the UK is behind. I'm like, it's the US that's behind in the conversation. So I'm very excited about that. I don't think I even properly. Yes.
Also in the book, I just have to show you this. So at the start of each chapter, I don't know if you can see this, but you have the photo of the person and then their flag. So we've got, for example, hang on, I keep finding UK people, but there's plenty in here who are not.
That's right. You do have a global community of experts, which I really love.
So, for example, there's Denise, and she is in the US. So she has the US flag. So what that means is you read her chapter, it's in US English. You read a chapter from somebody with the UK flag, it's in UK English. I very much wanted each chapter to stay in the voice of the person who wrote it. It's not for me to British English everything or to American English everything. It's for me to pull together this resource for people. So if you want to read stuff that's in US English, you flick through and you find the experts who are in the US. That's cool. We've got experts from Canada, from South America, South Africa, sorry, South somewhere, yes. From Australia, you know. So there's lots of different types of English in there, but it's intentionally in everybody's local English.
Well, that's right. When we're speaking to someone, we want to speak in our native tongue because that's how we best and most clearly express our deepest knowledge and especially the emotional support aspects.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. So the book is very much intended to be a collection of experts waiting to help you.
I love that for sure. And so you wrote, if there were 48 chapters, but 40 experts, which chapter did you write? Tell me about yours.
I wrote 3 chapters.
Okay.
Because I'm greedy. So I wrote a chapter about body acceptance, which is one of my most favorite subjects. Because yes. I think everybody is perfect as they are. And sometimes our internal voice tells us that we're not. And sometimes we need to learn to be kinder to ourselves. I wrote a chapter about tracking your cycle, which is another of my favorite topics.
Yes.
So just explaining why tracking is a bit of a superpower and what we would track to enhance that, to embrace that superpower. And then I also wrote a chapter about menopause at work.
Perfect. How perfect is that?
Which is another of my favorite topics.
Well, and I know, in fact, we have talked about body acceptance in a previous podcast, and I know we have talked about tracking as a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that so much. I was just trying to even pull up the episode so I could refer people to it. So I'll get that before the end of our chat.
Nice.
Wonderful. Well, when you talked about body acceptance and how mean we are to ourselves, I just went to the American reboot of the movie Mean Girls, and I laughed and I cried and I whooped. Yes, because in it, and it's a scene, the original was about 30 years ago. Yeah. And Tina Fey, who's the writer for Saturday Night Live, and she's a writer, director, producer, kind of an everything woman. She is this great voice of the now that is talking about, yes, we need to talk about this right now. And yes, girls are way too mean to themselves. And women, grown-up women, way too mean and harsh. And what if we banish that mean girl and be more kind? I love it.
Absolutely. And I just think that all of us, we all have that internal thing going, oh, God, you're so rubbish. You did this. And oh, you're so fat. And oh, you're so ugly. And all these horrible, horrible things. And I would just encourage people to catch that thought and go, where's the evidence for that?
That's right. We have to challenge it.
Where's the evidence that I'm a failure? Because actually, I've got these certificates, or I've got this, or I've achieved all these things, or I've whatever. Where's the evidence that I'm a failure? Where's the evidence that I'm a bad person? Because I don't think I've killed any puppies recently, so I don't think I'm a bad person. Where's the evidence that I'm going to make a mess of whatever I endeavor to do? There is no evidence for that. And, you know, my little internal voice likes to tell me that I'm greedy, and it likes to tell me that I'm bad with money, and it likes to tell me that I'm too fat, and I'm all these just horrible things that I would never say to anybody. And now I just pull it up and I go, thank you. Okay, I'm not.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're not really thanking it. We're saying, we're putting up the hand for people who are only listening and not watching. Yeah. It's the stop sign of, no, that is not true. That is false and wrong. You are beautiful. You are capable. You are good with money. You make good decisions and choices. And you're a wonderful person.
Yeah, it's kind of that, thank you for voicing your opinion. I don't need to hear that. I'm good. That's right. I think the stuff that we say internally is just horrific. And we would never say it to an actual other person. We would always be kind to another, or even if we were nasty to another person, it wouldn't be to the depth to which we're nasty to ourselves. And, you know, that's where my whole body acceptance thing comes from, really. And I think there's a big, less so now, but there was quite a big sort of movement towards body positivity. And I think that can feel like a leap too far for a lot of people. Okay. To suddenly go, right, so I'm going to go from hating what I see in the mirror to strutting down the street in a bikini. I don't think so. But I think if we come to body acceptance, then even if there's bits of yourself that you don't like, because maybe it's wobbly or it's cellulitey or it's whatever, you can actually, with the acceptance part, you can start going, well, okay, it doesn't look how the magazines tell me it should look, but it enables me to do X, Y, and Z. So maybe somebody's had kids and so they've got a sort of a wobbly tummy. Well, I mean, that tummy is like that for a very good reason. Maybe you've got cellulite on your thighs, but you can do squats, or you can walk, or you can swim, or you can dance, or you can, you know, your body is doing so many amazing things all of the time. And to focus just on the little kind of superficial things that we all focus on, rather than the actual core of who that person is. Because frankly, I'm sure, you know, many of the saints over the years, or Mother Teresa or whoever, I'm sure all had some cellulite. But, you know, hang on, my dogs are starting barking.
It's okay. That's all right. Well, I love how passionate you are about body acceptance. And I did just pull up, it was from season 3, episode 2, but it's been almost 2 years since our last podcast recording. I can't even believe it. And that one is on the Perry superpowers of tracking, collaboration, and more boundaries. Because then the episode before that was building a business with boundaries and experts. So I love to have watched you along the way, growing, developing, and saying, okay, here's who I am. Here's who I'm standing up for to be the voice for women who are not feeling seen, heard, acknowledged, and loved. Kind of like your new sweet, is that a Doberman, I think?
It is, yes.
Yeah. She's saying right now, look at me, listen to me, love me, right? And that's what women want in life. Most humans want that if they're healthy, meaning mentally, emotionally healthy. Other people just need time to themselves. But I love how consistent your message has been for women to feel good, to embrace our uniqueness, our unique skills, our unique looks, our unique voices, our unique hair.
Yeah. And I think, as we go into perimenopause and through to menopause, a lot of women sort of lose track of who they are, lose sight of what their purpose in life is and stuff. And I think actually it's a time when we can really step into our purpose rather than feeling that we've lost our way. And I totally understand as the hormonal changes happen that a lot of us do start feeling a bit lost and a bit kind of, whoa, what's happening here? But actually taking it as a chance to go, right, okay, I'm just going to reevaluate everything. I'm going to make peace with myself. I'm going to, if not love, to learn to love the wobbly bits of my body. I'm going to learn to accept them. And I'm going to learn that I don't need to look like a 20-year-old anymore. And actually, I can make huge changes in the world. I can make huge strides in my world, in the world, as I am, exactly as I am, without needing to change, become smaller, become less than.
Absolutely. And even when I was 20, I wasn't happy about my body then. So I think the greatest problem is, what are those messages we are telling girls from the very, very beginning? And a little bit of a disturbing thing I saw on the Today Show, which is an American morning talk show. And they said, oh, the greatest skincare demographic now is like tween girls, like 9 to 12. And I was stunned and shocked and disgusted that people are marketing to young girls and saying there's something wrong with their skin. It's like, girl, wash your face. If you need some sunscreen, that is about all you should need at that young, sweet, perfect age.
I just can't even with that. It's like when you see the big diet companies going, oh, come along with your mum. We've got our 9 to 14-year-old range kind of thing. And I'm like, no, don't teach a 9-year-old that she's not good enough. That is not cool.
Right.
That is not cool. That is just leading her to a life of self-hatred and all of these awful things. And do you know what? Just before puberty, everybody puts on some weight because your body is about to do some really spectacular changes. And funnily enough, it needs a bit of energy for that. So it kind of gathers stuff, and then you blossom into whatever your adult shape is going to be. And that is fine.
That's right. And even the shaming of a blemish on a girl's skin is just
honestly
as if our skin, complexion, everything is supposed to be perfect. The good news is they did have a female dermatologist specialist on that show, and she said, "Oh my gosh, we have got to stop this. It's not," and she has daughters as well. And it's like, yes, we need to change that narrative, because the damage that is done to us, the research is showing in that 8 to 12 to 17 age is all the work that we're trying to deprogram and heal from when we're 40, 50, 60 and beyond, right?
100%. 100%. And I know when I was that sort of age, I was lucky that I didn't particularly get too much acne. I didn't, like, my skin just kind of did what it did. And yeah, I got lucky. But I also never felt that I needed to put lots of products on it. Whereas I had lots of friends who would hide behind makeup and, wouldn't. I knew I had one friend who, like, at school this was, and, if she was staying over at her boyfriend's, she would get up an hour earlier so she could put her makeup on because she didn't want him to see her without makeup. And that's just heartbreaking, actually, because, oh my God, if you're with somebody, they love you for, well, if they don't, then they need to just get in the sea. But if they want to be with you, it should be for you, not for what your skin looks like, or,
This is me. I don't think I've even washed my face yet today. This is me getting up. I let the dog out. I tried to take care of some things. And some of that acceptance, which you've been a blessing to me and a gift of helping me, of like, well, this is who I want to be. And would I like to be perfectly glamorous someday? Well, if I need to be on a red carpet and someone says that's the only way I can be on that red carpet, maybe I can also say no to that.
I've been invited to speak at a couple of events recently. Yeah, I put a bit of makeup on because actually when you're under those really bright lights, you disappear.
You do. And I'm not judging people that enjoy makeup or hair or fashion.
Oh God, no, I'm not. No, if it's an enjoyment, go for your life. If it's that you feel that you can't, because of all those negative messages that you've picked up along the way, that somehow you're not good enough to leave the house without a mask on. That's where like, God, experiment. If you want to like go out full drag queen makeup, do it. If that is your fun, if that is your, if you use your face as a palette like an artist does, I mean, go for it. And I have so much admiration because I cannot do that. I do not have that skill. I have stupid colored hair. That's my kind of thing. And
it's not stupid. Wait. That mean girl, what'd she just say? Wait. You have funfetti hair.
I have, for anyone just listening, I have turquoise and pink hair. It's kind of my thing. And it is silly colors. And I'm good with that. And that's part of me now, and if makeup or high heels or whatever is part of who someone is, then I'm all for it because that is part of that person's body acceptance. It's when those things are something to hide behind because of a belief from some external source, normally, that they're not enough without those things. That's where I struggle, and that's where I want to just give a big hug to those people and say, you're perfect exactly as you are.
That's right. And in the UK, speaking of hugs, you offer a monthly hug. Tell me just a little bit about those.
So the name is actually perfect, and it wasn't my idea. I wanted to organize these little perimenopause meetups so that people could have a safe space in which they felt heard and they could vent about all the stuff, and then we could like brainstorm some good stuff, and then we could eat cake. That was the whole idea. So I booked a venue, and the lady said, "What's this called for me to put on the planner?" And I said, "Oh, well, the website's called Perimenopause Hub." And she went, "Perimenopause Hug? Okay." So she misheard hub for hug, and it became Perimenopause Hug. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And to that end, can I actually get hold of this without destroying my entire office? I don't know. I had some stickers made up for an event I was speaking at, which I don't know if you can see them, but it says, "I've been hugged by the Peri Godmother." So I went around at this event and I gave out free hugs and a sticker to people. Like you used to get a sticker for going to the dentist, you got a sticker for having a hug.
I love it. And, the world needs more laughter, more acceptance, more hugs, and especially from a Peri Godmother. That's amazing.
Yeah, I like a hug. And I think when people are feeling a bit unsure about themselves, actually, some random person with colourful hair coming up to them going, do you want a hug? You get a sticker. And it was just at this event, and so many people went, yeah, I do need a hug. I do. And it was proper big hugs. It wasn't like, sometimes when it's like with handshakes, isn't it? Sometimes you have a handshake and somebody's just like, yes. And you go, okay, you didn't really mean that. And the same with hugs, when people go, oh, that's, yeah. And it's like, no. This needs to be a proper big booby hug. There needs to be boobs happening here. There we are, proper hug. So, yeah.
Well, and those of us, that's right. Those of us that are not well endowed, it might not feel the same. So it's just a little different. We're accepting all of our different sizes and shapes.
My point is that any hug that comes from me is very booby. I have more than enough to share. I will embrace anybody in a big booby hug. It's fine.
Amazing. So good. Well, I wanted to touch on just a little bit of maybe, was there a big decision you made in the last year outside of the book?
Oh, I was going to say the book. Outside of the book, was there a big decision that I made? I don't think so. No, I think the book has been my... Oh, I've gone echoey. Hold on. I'm just going to put these in because I've gone echoey.
I think our signal is just a little unstable, so I'm hoping the sound is okay. We will check on that.
Yeah, no, I think this should sort out the echo. I think the book was my big decision of the last year, and it was my big learning of the last year, and it was my blindsiding of the last year. It was, it was quite all-encompassing.
Now your sound's gone out. Sorry. Is
that better?
So the book was The Blind Side, and the book was all-encompassing. Is that what you said?
Yeah, the book was all of last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was, I'm trying to think if there was any other big decisions that I made last year. Probably, but not that had the level of impact.
That didn't have the level of impact. Okay, good. Well, maybe I was thinking the year before when you had kind of a big experience and someone was making some promises.
Yeah.
To change the hub, and you had to make some decisions at that time.
Yes, I did. And I had to bring myself back to me and remember that my best stuff comes from me working intuitively. And whilst I was trying to work with these other people, I wasn't working intuitively, and it all felt wrong. Oh, I can't hear you. It's all gone weird.
Well, you're going to be able to tell by the sound of my voice that it sounds very different for the quality. Of course, the laptop died and both chargers have died, which is very unusual. But I think it tells us that the dogs are about ready for a break. So, Emily Barclay, I just kind of wanted to go through and sum up what we've talked about today. And I'm grabbing my notes. So it sounds like you really managed, publishing your first book very well. And there are always those unexpected things. Are there lessons learned you would like to encourage someone who's going to take on a project like this?
Yeah, don't do it in 4 months. That would be, so the biggest learnings are, don't do it in 4 months. If you're going to do all of the proofreading, editing, and formatting yourself, give yourself longer than 4 months, by the way. And also, think about marketing it. It's all well and good creating the book, but if you haven't thought about how you're going to market it, no one knows about it. Those are my 2 top tips.
Well, I love those. And you and I probably have not gotten to have this conversation yet, but I finished the rough draft of my first book. And that was the lesson that I have learned. I mean, I'm paying for the editing because I am not a good enough editor. And there's so many different kinds of editing. But you're right, the formatting and the writing, editing, and formatting, that's like half to 2/3 of the book. The marketing and getting it out there is huge, right?
Yeah. And it's a dark art that I don't really understand.
Well, if you ever need help for your next one, then let me know, because one of my mentors helps walk people through that exact. And she has a team of editors and formatters and converting it to an ebook and all that stuff. So you don't have to go through it all by yourself.
I enjoyed doing it all. I can't lie. I am a bit of a control freak. I probably have ADHD, so I have a very overactive brain. And actually, I'm a bit of a grammar geek. And frankly, it was quite enjoyable. The marketing part is the bit that I don't understand, don't want to understand, don't have any interest in, wish some magic fairy would come and sort out for me.
Well, if we need to have another conversation, we can certainly do that on the magic fairy side for promotions. Because you're right, you've got this amazing resource. I hope people will order it. I will share the link in the show notes for the perimenopause to Z, right? To Zen.
Yeah. Zen.
Perfect. Well, Emily, you've taught me so much about the importance of hugs, eating cake, and making sure that we continue to move forward and stay true to ourselves. And those are the voices we want to keep lifting up. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
How would you like people to find you?
I would like people to find the book on Amazon. If they just search Emily Barclay on Amazon, they will find it. And I would like people to come and join us in the Perimenopause Hub on Facebook.
Excellent. And Barclay, we're going to spell it for you, Barclay, because in the US, there are 6 different ways to spell that last name.
Yes, it is Barclay like the bank. I don't know if you have Barclays Bank in the US, but over here that makes sense. Barclay.
And PerimenopauseHub.com, and check them out on Facebook. Thank you so much. You are such a delight and a joy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful that you're listening, that you're sharing, that you're writing reviews, and it just helps the podcast grow. So many people are surprised that I'm still doing this after coming into my 4th year, but I love highlighting stories and supporting other women. Have a good one. Music brought to you by March of the Dragonflies by Belmont Club. Remember, you're perfect just as you are. Let's work towards acceptance. And quick disclaimer, this is not intended to be medical or healthcare advice. Please consult with your physician, osteopath, or healthcare provider before choosing what's right for you. Again, I will not give financial advice either, but I can point you in the directions of the trusted professionals that you can listen to. This is Hillary Baggett with Hill Talks Podcast. Thanks so much for listening. And as always, I hope you hear the love.